Hi, welcome to another working session. I discovered a little UX issue and I wanted to share that with you, how I go about solving it, and then at the same time we can look at the stories, how the stories work. So when we go into this is Views Tools I'm working on right now. So in the documentation space, I have styling properties, and when I go to styling properties, it will load all the properties, and that's a long list of all the properties we support in Views. First of all, it looks a bit long, but I find myself going to common more often because this is a list of common groups of props that I usually use, and that's more useful. So I think that rather than making that click every single time, I would move that tab to the front. Now, when we go to that story, so we are in docs all props. This is that view we're looking at. So this the flow on this one is set to be separate with all the stories here. So all layout, typography not supported, common. You can recognize them from here. So these are the tabs. They work separately, right? We get to see one tab at the time when we go to it. So all these stories work separately. They have a header. You can probably recognize it here. So there's a title. So there's a header, and there is also a menu. We should probably name it. We can name blocks. So this is a basic block, basic container, but let's name it. And then we have here we have content. So let's name it as well. Now here, as you can see, there's a button for the comment. So if I'm gonna move it here to the beginning of this menu, that will not do what I want, because and actually let's move the all button to the end, but that will not do what I want. So I'll show you what I mean just now. So okay, so now we have the buttons on where I would like to have them, right? On that menu I can go to all. It still loads, but it loads, it's a last tab. Common should be the first tab, and it should load first. So when we go there, that's not what's gonna happen. See, all loads first, and why is that so? Well, if we're gonna go to content, these are the stories for the content. So all this space is being loaded separately to the menu and to the header, because they are common for this view. So what we have here now is we still have the all tab as the first story in this view. There's no other stories. That is the first story that is loaded in this view, which makes it a default story that the view will go to. So every single time when we're gonna go to that view, we'll always load that story as the first story. So what I need to do to make that work the way that I want it to work, I need to move it. I don't have to move it to the last place, but I will. But it's what's important here is the first story. So it's important that the common story will be the first story. So now when we're gonna go to the documentation, we're gonna go to the styling properties. The common will load first, and all will not load at all until we click it, and it still will work, right? So so that's what I wanted to explain and share with you regarding the stories. There is a default story that loads first, and this is very useful for the pop-up pattern. So for example, here we have a no story. It's the no story is the first story, as you can see here. It's put as the first story. And that makes the pop-up being a pop-up. So right now the app is in a state where there's no pop-up, but if I'm gonna click the button that goes to that pop-up, then the content will be loaded, and this is the content. So there's a in the content blocks, we have a first story, which is the cheat list, which is the cheat sheet here. So yeah, so that's just just a interesting thing about stories. The first one that is in the view will always load as the first default story. All right, enjoy.